Alright, hey you guys, it is TsubakiSwagg and I'm coming to you with a review of Kiru Kiru, episode 9, A Once in a Lifetime Chance. Okay, but I know it's been a while since I reviewed the episode of Kiru Kiru. It's just been like most of the time when I get home from being in class and at work, I don't feel like really like sitting down and recording it. I have been watching them, but I have not been doing reviews of them. But I'm going to try to start doing reviews again of Kiru Kiru. But anyways, this one picked up where the last one left off at, where Ryuko was about to fight Gamagori in the King of the Hill battle, and pretty much she was like they were standing on the platform, and Ryuko was pretty much like, I want to hurry up and beat you all, and I'll beat you all at the same time if I have to. But then one of them pointed out that they were supposed to go one at a time. That's why it was called King of the Hill. So, and then all of the other three in the Elite Four were pretty much going back and forth as to who was supposed to fight her first, because of course Gamagori was down there first. And then Satsuki came out of nowhere and was like, the reason why Gamagori is gonna fight her first, because he got the fewest like kills, pretty much. When they had to fight their way back into the Elite Four, he got the fewest out of the four, so he was gonna go first. So in that, Ryuko was pretty much like, you know, I'm ready to fight you. Come on, let's go ahead and fight. And Gamagori was like, well, the battle doesn't start until 1 o'clock, so you have until 1 before we fight. And Ryuko was like, I was pretty much like, I don't care what time we're supposed to start, I want to fight now. But of course she got overruled and they had to wait until 1 o'clock to fight, and it was like 8:55 when they said that the battle was supposed to be at 1. So while they were waiting, Ryuko was eating her food, and eating her food with Mako, and Mr. Mikisugi just came up out of nowhere, and Mako stood up and was like, I'm gonna be there cheering for Ryuko, and he like put a push pin in her forehead and pretty much knocked her out for a couple of seconds so he could talk to Ryuko without being interrupted. And he was pretty much like, I don't think that she should back out of the fight with the Elite Four, because he feels like her having to fight them consecutively one after another, she wasn't going to be able to win anyways. And Ryuko was pretty much like, you need to unfreeze Mako and you need to get out of my face, because talking to Mako makes her feel way better than talking to him. And he was like, okay. So he took the pen out and walked away. And during all this also, they showed like the news station in her city was announcing that she was going to be fighting the Elite Four, and Mako's dad and brother and mom saw this and heard about it and were like, well, he told Mako's brother to go steal a TV. He was like, oh, I had already stole a TV for this reason. He sat it down on the floor to like for them to watch it, and they were like, why isn't anything coming up? And they went to open back of it and there was nothing in there. And he was like, you're officially never going to, I'm never going to ask you to steal TVs from me again, blah, blah, blah. So they ran and went ahead and went to the arena to watch the fight. And, well, not to the arena, they went to another place to watch the fight. And then they show like Ryuko talking to Senketsu, and she was like, so are you ready? And he was kind of like out of it, and he was like, oh, I'm just thinking. She was like, okay. So they pretty much went about their business, and she was like, well, need to get your head in the game. He was like, okay, I'll be ready. And she started fighting Gamagori, and of course Gamagori is so freaking perverted, and I don't know why. Plus he's 20 years old, and everybody in the high school, well, of course Satsuki and Ryuko are like 16, and he's like a 20-year-old in high school still, which is still a little creepy to me. And the fact that he's like a masochist and likes being punished is beyond me. But anyways, so he's fighting, well, they're fighting each other, and of course Ryuko knows that when she hits him, it'll make his reaction worse. because he responds to being hit as opposed to like doing normal combat. And he was like, well, I was aware of this, so he started hitting himself, which was really creepy. And he started building himself up to his climax so he could fight her. And then he just went in on her and was like pretty much whipping her with whips. It was really bad. And like his Goku uniform is pretty much like him strapped up, and he has a gag in his mouth. Anyways, so during all that, he's pretty much talking to her and like saying that he wants to mold the school and show people through him punishing himself for them to follow his actions and be more outstanding students, I suppose. But I still don't think that's any excuse for him to pretty much beat himself for pleasure. But during all this, and while they're fighting, they show a flashback of when he first met Sasuke, and he was pretty much like, if you're going to try to take over the school by force, then I will take all the punishment, and I will not let you win just because of my resolve. So he fought her, and she was doing pretty good. She was hitting him, and he wasn't fighting back though. And she was like, you have on armor, and he had like pretty much a full body armor, like metal suit on. And he was like, yeah, my family owns like ironworks here, so I got them to make this for me. And he's pretty much just like let her hit him, and she finally got a final like strike on him, and he said, no matter what, I'm not going to kneel to you. And even though he was about to pass out, he took the sheath off of her sword and still didn't kneel. And after all that, he passed out, and she had like moved him or whatever, and he woke up, and he was like, did I kneel? And pretty much she said that she wanted him to be her shield, her impenetrable shield, because he was so resolved in doing so to protect the thing that he cared about. So she wanted him to be her shield, and that's pretty much how they met. But him and Ryuko continued to fight, and pretty much Ryuko wasn't getting any hits in, not for real, or whatever hit she did get in, it pretty much just backfired on her and made his attacks stronger. So after that, he pretty much he said that he was going to mold her into the upstanding student she's supposed to be, and asked her why was she walking around in that slutty uniform. Will turn her sailor suit into a slutty uniform. And then she mentioned, she was like, well, what about Sasuke? Because hers is actually way worse than Ryuko's is. And he was like, she's an exception to the rule. And I don't see how. Anyways, so he said that he was going to mold her, and he captured her and was about to put her in a mold, and Senketsu was like, so do you want to win this fight? And she was like, why are you asking me this stupid question? And Senketsu was like, well, are you going to trust me and let me do what I need to do? And he was like, sure. So he turned off the uniform and brought her back to her normal state. And of course, Gamakura was like, that's so much better. That's more upstanding. And then he like grabbed her because she was completely vulnerable. He grabbed her and like sucked her in and wrapped her up in this like whatever, his whips or whatever that cover his body will cover his Goku uniform, and he was pretty much going to suffocate her. And then out of nowhere, Senketsu like does a second transformation and turns like the whole suit into a blade. Like there's blades coming out of everywhere on the suit, and pretty much Senketsu cut up the whips that protected Gamagori's Goku uniform, which made him vulnerable. And she, of course, did her finishing blow and took the life fibers from his Goku uniform and fight. So after that, Gamagori was so like disgraced. Well, he felt so disgraced that he was about to take his life. And Sasuke stopped him and told him that he needed to wipe away his own tears, and walked away. And then, of course, the next person came up. I cannot remember his name right now to save my life, but anyway, he walked up and they showed that they were about to fight, and then the episode ended. So that was pretty much the end of the episode. But yeah, so I would love to hear what y'all think is going to happen in the next episode, how y'all think the fight is going to go. But anyways, my video is running a little long and I'm about to run out of space, so I'm going to have to go ahead and say farewell for now. But please make sure to check out my last video, my last review of Naruto. But anyways, as always, this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.